everyone to another Survivor School Masterclass. And tonight we have a very special guest. Her name is Tia Christensen. She is a certified cosmic smash book guide. She is also a certified life activation coach. And she's been doing this for about 8 years coaching, and I think 5 or 6 years doing with the cosmic smash book process. So, Tia, could you tell us a little bit more about what a life activation coach is? And I'm sure you were going to reveal the fun little secrets behind the cosmic smash booking process as well. So,
Absolutely. Thank you so much, RC. And I'm so delighted to be here with everyone. And thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, I'm a certified life activation practitioner in the lineage of King Solomon. And what that means is that I get to work with people and supporting them in reconnecting with their true soul's purpose, with by infusing them with light, rebalancing their energy bodies, their energy systems, their etheric field. And it is literally like being a light bulb that gets turned on, being plugged back into the socket where your connection with your own inner guidance, the divine, whatever you call the divine, and your own soul's calling gets super activated and supports you in moving forward so that you can meet your soul's calling in this lifetime. And I'm also a certified energy empowerment coach. I hold coaching certifications from an IFC certified institution as a health and life coach, and I'm a cosmic smash book guide. And I'll do a little show and tell because we are talking about image and color and creativity today. This is one of many of my cosmic smash books. Our world of cosmic smash booking, we do books, we do pages, we smash the canvas. There are all kinds of things that we do. And if you saw the promotional materials, the image in the background behind my photo and behind all the text, that was actually a Smashbook page that I created for our coaching certification program. And so it's a really wonderful, amazing. I can show you that there are times it's really quite simple, and there are other times that it is more complex. So, and it's everything in between. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. It is about the magic of the process and allowing ourselves to allow the things to bubble up from deep within. And as we say, we lay it on the page. And then we go through a very particular process to transmute, transform that energy, to release whatever it is that's stuck within us onto the page. And that energy is released and moved back to source so that it can be turned back into light and come back down into this world. And I think that that's a very short, as simple as I can make it explanation. This evening is we'll be exploring how creativity can unlock deep healing to support you in creating a clear vision for your life and to develop unshakable confidence. And even if you don't think that you have a creative bone in your body, you do. And tonight you'll reconnect with that part of who you are, or maybe connect with it for the very first time. And if you're somebody who's like, oh, I quilt or I draw or I paint, tonight is also an opportunity for you to go even deeper into that unique creative genius that lives within inside you. And so I'd like to start. What does creativity mean to you? Could be a variety of things. And it could mean, for some people, I don't even know because creativity scares me or it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I share that because that was me. I was convinced I wasn't creative at all for a very long time. So let me open up the chat here and pop on the old readers. Expression, yeah. Happy place, curiosity, exploration, freedom, childhood, expression, a bubbling of ideas. Yeah, release. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And for me, it's all of those things. And for me, it's also the soul's opportunity to speak through me and to inform me and to guide me and to hold me and teach me as I'm moving forward in this life's journey. I think we can all agree that we want to heal the pain of the past, but many of us have lost hope, and because traditional methods just aren't working for us. And so I'm curious, is there anybody here who may have experienced that in the past or maybe is experiencing that right now, where you've tried talk therapy, you've tried traditional modalities, and you just felt maybe frustrated or stuck, or like it really wasn't helping you at all? Because I know I've been there too. And so just a quick show of hands if that lands for you, if that resonates at all. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for vulnerably sharing and whatnot. So that's why we're here tonight, to talk about a whole different modality here. And it's not that you aren't doing the work. The real problem is that the process that you're working with just isn't right for the way that your brain works now. And I don't know about you, but I certainly, from my own experience, there was the way my brain worked before my experience, and there's the way my brain works now. And it's different, not right or wrong or good or bad. And I get to create new avenues and new opportunities for myself to heal and explore. And so I share that with you because you are not alone. And many people try talk therapy, or they create intense exercise regimens, or they journal, or even avoid dealing with the painful experience altogether. And they begin to lose hope because nothing seems to work. And we feel really stuck and possibly even heartbroken. But the truth is, we are all different, and there is no one size fits all in our healing process. What works for me may not work for you or the next person or the next person. Yet, from what I have experienced and in what I have found with my clients, is that creativity and creative outlets is one of the threads that does create lasting change for everyone. So again, there's no right or wrong here. And when we're feeling like nothing is working, this causes us to lose trust, and we can lose hope that healing is even possible for us. And it can be really difficult to talk about what's happened to us in life. And that's why working with image, color, and creativity in general is so important. It's easy, it's accessible, it's safe. It's a great way for our emotions to release themselves in a rhythm that is connected with our own divine internal rhythm. So I'm going to share my screen here because I have this really amazing quote that I want to share with everyone. Your brain, creativity, image, and color. There's this wonderful researcher at Drexel University, and she's a researcher in art therapy. And I hope that I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Gajira Kamal. I practiced this very many times before our time here tonight. And she says that anything that engages your creative mind, the ability to make connections between unrelated things and imagine new ways to communicate, is good for you. And in her research, she says that studies show that despite your fear or nervousness around creating quote unquote art, engaging in any sort of visual expression results in the reward pathway of the brain being activated, which means that you feel good and it's perceived as a pleasurable experience. And I also love this quote by Dr. Gordon. He's an author, and he wrote Your Brain on Art, how the arts transform us. And he says, in my experience, art goes beyond words in helping us to understand what's going on with ourselves and to understand what we should do with it. So I thought that these were really beautiful, right from the researchers, giving us a little bit of information, which I have a bit of an analytical bent to me. And so it's a wonderful opportunity when I go into that creative space to let go of the analysis and to be just in the flow. And I do like my facts though too. So I wanted to go ahead and share that with everybody. And then just to give us a little bit of an example about the idea of image and color, who here sometimes goes out grocery shopping without a list. I do. I don't know why I do. I forget half of what I want, but I do always. And who here remembers every single product name? I don't. You do? Okay, so there are times I'm like, and I was going to bring my bag up. I have a favorite bag of corn chips. If you ask me what the name is, I can't tell you. Yet when I walk down the aisle, I know exactly the packaging. My favorite vegan whipped butter. Forever, I couldn't pronounce her name, but I know the packaging. It's image and color. Marketing is all based on image and color. Yeah, I write it down and I forget the list, all the things. And I was doing this, earlier this week. I was like, oh, I don't remember the name of it. What's that cheese I like? I don't know. Oh, that's the package. And I was like, oh, light bulb moment, image and color. Yeah, let me read this. Things here. The worst idea to go hungry into the grocery store. I don't know how many times I've done that too. It's always very erratic whenever I do. Me as well. You are not, you are in good company. Thanks for sharing. So again, image and color and creativity is around us all the time, and we're interacting with it all the time, sometimes just in ways that we may not consciously be aware of. And that's why in order to restore hope, the healing is possible, we need a process that allows us to tap into the creative parts of our brain and to learn to trust ourselves again. And we can do this through a creative process called cosmic smatchbooking. And this process allows you to tap into the parts of your brain that you haven't had access to maybe ever or for a very long time. And if you've had a very traumatic event in your life, oftentimes the doors can close in certain ways. And through cosmic smatchbooking, you can reopen those doors slowly and gently at a rate and a pace that is right for you to explore once again. And cosmic smatchbooking also unleashes your creativity and releases stored trauma from the body and from your inner being. And the reason that that is so important is because when we hold on to all of that energy, it gets trapped in our bodies and it ends up manifesting itself into physical symptoms. There's much research on even cancer, especially coming out of Germany, that tie different kinds of cancer to different aspects of our physiological, our emotional and spiritual experiences along the way. And there's a lot out there on this. So if anybody's really interested in that, you may know more than I do, and please feel free to share in the chat. But when we hold on to that energy and we don't release it, all kinds of things happen. It not only impacts our mental health, it impacts our emotional health, it impacts our physical health. So this is why it's so important for us to be able to release that, transmute it, and send all of that energy and get it out of our being, our physical being and our energy being, so that we can move into doing what we came here to do. And so I wanted to share a little bit tonight about a client of mine, Amelia. I would like to share a little bit about her story, just to give you a sense of the power of creativity and specifically cosmic smatchbooking and what it can do for people. And Amelia, she was experiencing a lack of self-confidence, and she was feeling some unworthiness, and she was really struggling to connect in her relationships, and not in her work relationships and in her personal relationships with her grown daughter, her grown son, her partner, her boyfriend at the time, her parents, as well as the people in her new job. And it was impacting her ability to thrive in her new job. And she knew it all stemmed from trauma, but she couldn't find the way to break free from it. And so she had tried talk therapy. She went through transformational leadership and emotional intelligence trainings, all in the hopes of finding a way to kick her career into high gear and to move through what was holding her back. And she was through these experiences. She was really hoping that the key to her own personal breakthrough would be found. And she had started to lose hope. She was started to feel frustrated. intense amounts of anger were bubbling up that she was hanging on to in her body because nothing was working for her. So when we got together, we decided to try something different for Amelia and something that she had never considered herself all that quote unquote creative, something that we've been talking about here tonight and the stories that we have around that. And she had said, I might craft here and there, but I'm not a creative person. And in fact, she was a perfectionist. And as I joked with her, like, let's call you a recovering perfectionist because we do want you to move forward in releasing perfectionism because there is no such thing. And that was part of our conversation. And Amelia was also anxious about making mistakes or getting it wrong, in quotes. And so the idea of being creative felt overwhelming to her. And I could really relate because when I started on this path, it felt very overwhelming to me too. And that's why Cosmic Smashbooking works so well, because we begin by taking a look at perfectionism. And so there are like really three steps that I'm gonna chat about here. And the first step is that we really take a look at perfectionism and we get a journal and we write down what our perfect, our quote unquote perfect would look like. That like that daydream that we all have of what is that tropical island or what's that new car? I always daydream about an Audi. I want an Audi. I like how they look. I think they're so cool. I like how comfortable they are. Or that dream house that we may have. Or sometimes it comes to me when I'm watching a movie or I witness somebody else and I get inspired by what they're up to or the things that are going on for them. So it's that daydream, and we allow that to bubble up from within our hearts and within the depths of our soul, and we allow that to bubble up and we journal on it. And I also call this creating your vision. So sometimes using the word vision can be really overwhelming. So daydreaming, we all daydream. And in that daydream, in that magic of that daydream, is your vision for what you want to create in life. So step two is where we learn to trust ourselves again, or maybe even for the first time ever. This can be really hard for a lot of people who've experienced trauma in their lives. So I'm going to walk you through an exercise in a few moments that will help you begin to do this, will help you begin to trust yourself again, which is something that we talked about at the first part of our call. And so why does healing matter, which I've already touched upon a little bit. And I just want to go back to that because it's so incredibly important in our lives. Trauma damages our sense of self. It impacts our self-love, our self-worth, all the selves, all the phrases. And trauma interferes with the ability to make decisions. And I know from my own experience, I mean, these can be, I'm talking about the big life decisions, and I'm talking about the very small decisions of, am I going to clean the bathroom? Am I doing the dishes? Or what am I eating tonight? What am I going to wear? Did I do laundry? Am I going to do laundry? I don't know if I want to do laundry. Am I going to go grocery shopping? I don't know. Maybe I'll do Instacart. So this trauma can really interfere with our brain patterns. It remaps our neurological pathways and can really put us in a tizzy. And we don't have to stay there. So healing is important because the ability to make decisions is really critical to support us in moving forward in our life. Trauma impacts our relationships. Most often, we disconnect or we check out or we hide because I don't know about you. I know I can only speak from my own experience. There was so much going on inside of me that I didn't know how to be in connection for a long time with people. And through creativity, I was able to reignite that fire in me. And healing is important so we can fuel our self-esteem and unlock the doors that may have been closed, keeping us stuck in a cycle of feeling less than in life, like there's no way out, which simply isn't true. Trauma breaks our trust with ourselves because as survivors, there can often be a lot of self-blame, shame, or survivor's guilt the cycles of negative self-talk and like, I should have known better. What's wrong with me? Why didn't I see that? And all the things that can come up. Why can't I just get back to normal? That was a big one for me. The whole idea of like, wow, when I witnessed the train of negativity running around in my brain, oh my goodness, it just made it really hard. And so again, cosmic smashbooking is one of the keys to support us in reprogramming those stories. So most people struggle with trust, which is such an important part of who we are in general. And after a traumatic experience, that can really be at an all-time low. Most people struggle with trust because they may have even been betrayed by the very person that was supposed to protect them or take care of them or somebody that they were close to in life. And that goes back to the I should have known, I should never have, and all of those things that we can allow our brains to mull over, which just simply isn't true. There are many ways to create trust again. And connecting with your unique creative expression is one of the easiest, quickest ways that I know how to do that. To really feel yourself again, to be deeply connected with the innate wisdom that lives within you. So that releasing that stuck trauma, that stuck traumatic energy from your physical body and your spiritual being will get you back on track. And it can be, the other thing is, it can be really hard to talk about verbally what's happened to us in life. And it doesn't have to be a big traumatic event. It can be all the little things that come up in life that build on top of each other that can really be difficult for us to talk about. So through image and color and creativity, it's a great way to be able to process those things in a safe, comfortable environment at our own rate and pace. So I had said there were 3 steps. So the third step here is taking all of this and moving into releasing the stored trauma and that is holding us back from achieving our dream life, our daydream. And we do that through cosmic smashbooking. This is the fun part because we actually get to release our inner self and turn on our creativity. Even if you don't think you're creative, and trust me, you are. We use a step-by-step process that's really easy to understand and it's really easy to connect with. So there is no right or wrong. You simply can't get it wrong. And there are only 4 rules. The first rule in cosmic smashbooking is there are no rules. The second rule in cosmic smashbooking is keep going. No matter what's going on, you can just keep going. The third step, have fun. And the fourth step is when you're feeling really stuck and you're not sure what to do, go back to the first rule, which is there are no rules. So those are our guidelines in cosmic smashbooking. And outside of that, it's wherever your inner guidance, your inner intuition, your muse, however you want to call that, that divine inspiration, wherever it takes you, as long as you follow it, the healing is there. We are going to do an experiential exercise. Well, I have 2 of them. So the first one is one that we will stand up. And so let's go ahead and jump right in and do that one together, because this one is to support us in understanding that we can retrain our brains. And we're going to do it right now together. So I'm going to stand sideways and we can stand sideways together. And you can put your thumb out, not like you're hitchhiking because your hitchhiking thumb's over here. You're going to put your thumb out right up in front of you. Yeah, great. And you're going to look forward right at your thumb. And you're going to plant your feet and your legs, and you're going to turn at your waist and turn your torso with your thumb as far as you can go behind you, like a turnstile. And just notice where you stop and pick a point on the wall or in the room and notice what you're looking at. And then swing your arm and yourself back to looking in front of you again. Now go ahead and close your eyes. Keeping your feet and your legs planted, swing your torso and your arm all the way behind you, as far as you can go, as far as you can go. And now open your eyes and notice where your thumb, your torso, and what you're seeing is now. And notice that it's at a different spot than it was before, and likely a little further in the turning radius. And what's happened here is that we trained our brains that change is possible in just that few moments of time. And this is a great exercise that you can hang on to and do anytime you're feeling stuck, like I can't change, it's just not possible. Hold on, let me do my hitchhiking exercise and just allow your mind to grab on to the fact that change is possible in even just a few moments. So now we're going to do our creative exercise. So I just want to make sure that we all have, does everybody have a piece of paper of some kind? And if you don't, we'll take a quick moment to go ahead and grab that. And so we're going to start with just a plain pencil or pen. And then if you don't already have something near you, like it could be a highlight, something that has color in it. It could be a highlighter, a Sharpie, a crayon, anything that you've got handy near you. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take that piece of paper, and if it's on a pad, that's okay too, or in a journal, and you're going to fold it in half. Because what we're doing is it'll be like a page in a book. So you may want to orient it. So if you're on a pad of paper like this and you fold it in half, I invite you to make it horizontal instead of vertical. Okay? Very good. And right now, what I'd love for you to do is to go ahead and just for a moment, think about that daydream, that perfect life. And I'm actually going to have you put your hands on the paper, just go ahead and rub that paper. And close your eyes and just sort of get in touch with the crinkle of the paper. Maybe there's a smell of the paper. Maybe you've got lots of notes in this notebook or on this page. Just getting in connection with that page. And then think about that daydream. And on the left side of the page, we're going to take our pencil or our pen, and we're going to draw a stick figure. And that stick figure represents you on the left, your left side of the page. Just a beautiful little stick figure. Really quick. Ooh. Notice, just really quick. Not overthinking it, just, quick little things. And I'll be vulnerable. I'll show you mine. I can already hear my judgment coming up, and we'll share that at the end. Okay. Now I invite you to go ahead and put that pen or pencil down. This is just a super quick stick figure. And we're going to close our eyes, and I'm going to guide you in a visualization where we're going to connect with that daydream. And if you're someone that's like, gosh, it's so hard for me to even imagine my future life, I invite you to borrow a scene out of a movie or a place that you visited or that you've always wanted to visit. Maybe it's a place in Greece or somewhere in the world or just in your local neighborhood that you haven't been to yet. Go ahead and bring that daydream forward of what your future life looks like. And now imagine and start to see yourself in that future life. Notice what you might be wearing. Do you feel far away? Or are you close to yourself? There's no right or wrong here. And now imagine that you're walking up to your future self. And you start to look around at the scene around them. What are they looking at in this beautiful future? It might seem a little foggy right now. So we're going to go ahead and literally step into our future self. Just imagine that it's like walking through a doorway as if you're putting on a coat, a big overcoat, allowing yourself to slip into that future part of who you are. Sort of settling in there, and notice that your eyes are closed right now. Just sort of getting used to being in this future physical body. Breathing in, notice if you're catching any sense of smell that you normally wouldn't be connected with where you are right now. Like for me, I'm imagining I'm picking up the sense of an ocean smell. Whatever it is perfectly fine. And if you're not smelling anything, that's okay too. Notice that your lungs are expanding and contracting. And they're the lungs of your future self. You've actually moved into the future. And maybe you're feeling some different kinds of clothes on all of a sudden. Maybe your clothes are a little looser or a little tighter. I'm feeling like I have a hat on, a beautiful hat with a big, outrageous feather on it, flopping in the wind gently. And as you tune into this future self and this future, this daydream, really beginning to feel it in a different kind of way through your senses. Notice if you're hearing anything off in the distance or very prominently next to you that normally wouldn't be there. Is there a flavor or a taste that's coming up for you? I'm bouncing between like some kind of delicious fried food and ice cream. Just allowing anything that might be coming up. And again, if there's nothing coming up for you right now, that's okay. Just allow yourself to continue to daydream. Let the scene around you unfold. And as you are looking at your future through your future self's eyes in this daydream, notice what's around you, where you are, the people you're with, or if you're alone. Is there a moon or a sun or both? Is there a rainbow, magical beings, seashells, train tracks, rainbow bridges, or the most amazing Victorian mansion with an incredible garden? And now I invite you to tap into what you may be feeling in the moment, in this future, living in this daydream. If that feels a little uncomfortable, you don't have to. And if it feels comfortable, go ahead and tap into that energy, that feeling. And maybe there's, what I'm picking up from everyone here tonight is relief, release, comfortableness, tears, just tears of release. Not because we're sad necessarily, but just an energy that is ready to not be trapped in our body anymore. So taking another look around us and at this future and in this daydream that our future self is standing in and participating in and living in, just go ahead and soak that all up. Now imagine yourself taking a step backward and you begin to move out of your future self, like you're taking off that big overcoat and you're stepping away from that future. And you take another step backward and your future self turns around and you're looking at each other. And there's a knowingness as you look at each other in your eyes. And maybe you even embrace in some kind of way. Maybe she tells you it's going to be okay. They tell you it's going to be okay. You've got this. Maybe having a moment of gratitude for this opportunity to connect with this beautiful potential future, this daydream. You can go ahead and turn around and begin to walk out of this future. Notice that there's a beautiful doorway that has appeared, doorway of light. And so you're going to walk towards that doorway of light. Just before you get to that doorway, go ahead and look over your shoulder at your future self because she's watching you. They're watching you. And they're waving. And in that moment, perhaps you realize that she is you and you are her and you are one. Now you find that you've reached the door and maybe you give one more wave, goodbye, blow a kiss, send a hug, knowing that your heart is well cared for and protected. Go ahead and walk through that doorway of light, coming back into your body, into the present moment. And before you open your eyes, what we're going to be doing is you'll be taking your writing utensil that's got color. If you have more than one, you can use as many as you want. You're going to draw your stick figure again, representing your future self, inspired by what you just experienced, on the right-hand side of the page. So go ahead and open your eyes. And begin to draw. And whatever way comes out is exactly perfect. And what I invite you to do is to now take whatever pen or pencil or whatever you have that comes up, and you're going to draw a line from either the right side to the left side to the right side, whichever it is, crossing over that middle part of the page. So we're crossing over the page. We're going to connect these two sides. So I'll demonstrate here. We're literally just going to take wherever it fits. You're just going to draw over the crease onto the other side. I invite you to also, and I'll go first, to take a look at your two stick figures and where you went. Because there's no right or wrong in a stick figure. Oh, RC, look. Fantastic. Yeah, I had a lot of judgment. I'm like, what am I doing? Her arms aren't even on her body. What's going on? She's totally like, yeah. Oh my gosh, what are they going to think? All the judgment stuff. Like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think? Oh my goodness. This is a crazy looking stick figure. Oh my gosh. And then, now I got my feather, like, and just sort of like play with your creation. And I invite you, if you're open to it, to pop in the chat or come, take yourself off mute and share what was coming up for you, like your first stick figure. What was coming up for you? What words maybe were like, I was sharing like, oh my gosh, our arms aren't even on our body. What am I doing here? And the judgment. And then afterwards, when we went to our future self and we came back and we redrew our stick figure, what was coming up for you around for her? Oh, I wrote a blog years ago named Recovering Perfectionist. I can relate wholeheartedly. Thank you, Malika. Second guessing myself in my own daydream. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Sometimes we just have a hard time giving ourselves permission to know that change is possible. I kept changing my clothes and seeing myself wearing things I wouldn't normally wear. That's huge. Yeah. In the beginning, Karen, in the beginning, my inner monologue was telling me I'm a bad artist. That's a tough story, isn't it? The second one, I felt myself smiling, imagining where I will be in the future. Great. My line connecting the two, I saw as almost a vibrating energy line. Yeah, I saw that in your drawing, RC. Thank you for sharing.
Really love this idea of there are no rules and it's just guidelines. And it really does give us that sense of we can trust ourselves because we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to, there is no such thing as perfect. It's a daydream and you can change it in an instant. And the another sort of observation I had is this is something, and I think this is really important for people to understand. A lot of times when we learn about different modalities, right? We've been, so many of the survivors have been struggling for so long to find even the slightest bit of relief, right? And we feel like healing trauma is this big monumental thing that we have to overcome, and we've just been fighting this uphill battle for so long that when there are processes that can be as simple as this, a visualization exercise about your dream future, it oftentimes I think we will, as survivors, just partly just how our brain is, what our brain is doing to us, right? It gives us a negative view on ourselves, it gives us a negative view on the world around us, and a negative view on the future. But when we actually stop and pause and give ourselves just permission to daydream, it is shocking how simple this is and how effective it is. And I think we often dismiss that as survivors, like I said, because the struggle is real and it has been hard for so long. We don't believe that something so simple can be so effective. So I really want people to understand the impact and the power of even just, and I know this is barely Tia, like barely the tip of the iceberg in terms of what cosmic smash booking can do. So I just want to emphasize that. I want to make sure that people really do understand how powerful this is. Actually, can I take a moment, Tia, if you have a couple minutes? I do know we're over time a little bit. Can you tell us what it might look like or feel like? I know you shared this great exercise. Can you give us a little bit more of what we might experience in a workshop or what we might expect to get as a result of going through a real full-on cosmic smash booking workshop?
Absolutely. Thanks for allowing the time. And that's a great question. So in terms of the experience, as I shared a little bit in the beginning, what we'll do in the workshop is we'll work on a page and we'll send all of that information out in advance so that everybody has all the variety of tools that are recommended. And it's really about what's inspiring you to bring to the workshop. It is really a wonderful opportunity to be in the journey of hearing what wisdom is bubbling up from within to guide you. And we will go through a process where we'll be doing some journaling, and I will take you through the full cosmic smash booking process, which we didn't really do tonight. We touched on some elements of it. Our full process is journaling, and then we do a layer over the journaling, and we get in touch with the what's coming up for us and the topic of the workshop. While RC and I have not said it yet, is likely going to be around your daydream future. your what it is that you'd like to create so that we can really get grounded in that. And so those of you catching the replay, um, and those of you here live, if we take a look at the experience that you had tonight, just by our stick figures and the transformation that happened there, you can 10 times that. So what you can expect to experience in a full Cosmic Smash booking session is groundedness, is clarity on your vision for your future, and actually believing that that's actually possible to get there, developing self-trust, trusting your own instincts and your own intuition, as well as a deep connection with your inner wisdom, the divine, which supports you and going out into the world and being productive and moving forward in your career, or taking your business to the next level, or maybe it's just about getting a good night's rest and allowing the mind to settle itself down and get off the train track of whatever, get off the train track that it's on right now and get onto one that's leading you to your daydream. Uh, and at the conclusion of our time together, and I flipped open to a random page here, you will have something tangible to take with you that you have created that will support you in always regrounding in those moments when maybe something's coming up and you're feeling a little bit stuck, or you're feeling just a little out of sorts. You can always go back to your page. And my client Amelia would leave her Cosmic Smash book out on her desk for the in between our sessions for the week, so that she could always go back to it and say, oh, I'm having a joyful moment. I'm celebrating. This page taught me this page taught me that, or I'm feeling stuck. And she would go back to the page and get inspiration from it. Because one of the most important things that we can do is, when we are done with our page, is we do what we read the page. And it's from reading the page, informed by what our intention was, what we journaled, where all the wisdom that has been trapped inside of us, waiting for expression, is bubbled out. And then we talk about what the page means to us. And it can be of very many different things. Colors inform us, the way things are placed on the page, the way things are drawn. As Kat was sharing, she had one figure turned in and one figure turned outward, and what that meant to her. And so that's really the deeper aspect of Cosmic Smash booking, is getting into, well, what does your creation mean to you? And again, you don't have to draw. You don't have to have an art background. In fact, it's almost better if you don't. So in the workshop, I'll be guiding people through collaging, and sometimes that can be a much easier, accessible way to approach our pages, where we can borrow images and sayings out of a magazine and whatnot. But again, we'll be going through that process. I'll be grounding you in it. We will have fun while we're doing it. And if fun has been something hard for you to grab onto lately, trust me, we will have a good time, and we will have massive breakthrough in our healing to create that groundedness, a clearer vision for our future self, develop our self-trust so that we can have unshakable confidence and move forward in our life, and reconnect in those relationships, and quantum leap our careers and our businesses and whatever it is that it is on your heart that you want to move forward with.
I love that. And I I know Cosmic Smash booking is so much more than this, but there is this you've shared with me. We had several meetings coming up to this, and you shared the process, and I've seen so many images of some of the pages you've created, and we tried to share some of those on the website, on the landing page, and we'll continue to do so, obviously, as we get closer to a workshop and everything as well, so people can kind of get an idea for what this could feel like. And I would imagine everyone's book is completely different. I imagine they're totally different. One of the things that kind of comes up for me is to sort of create an analogy for people to really understand. I know you've shared some pages of this. And this is and please forgive me. I hope that this is a compliment and not an insult to the entire process, but it's kind of like a dream board, like a vision board, but like on steroids, right?
Yeah,
Okay. I wanted to
absolutely.
make sure that was a okay thing or an analogy to make, because I think a lot of people understand like a vision board is about your future. And then there's a journal, which very oftentimes is about our past. And I feel like this is these two things sort of merging into one with this sort of, well, cosmic smash booking, which is right, like the colliding of universes, maybe, I don't know, in a very alliterative maybe way to put it, but just to really give people an understanding from what I've seen in these images. I know that I tried to do some research and I didn't find a lot out on the internet about this. So I think that whatever you are imagining this could be, it's that times 100.
Yeah. Thank you, RC, for drawing that like super clear connection. Cosmic Smashbooking is really a mashup of, if you're familiar with what art journaling is, it's a mashup of art journaling and intentional creativity movement. And it brought these two plus many other modalities together. But it's if you've ever done a vision board or a dream board, or you pick your word for the new year, or you're creating something that's visual that you want to have up in your space to support you in grounding in what it is you want to create. Cosmic Smashbooking actually takes all of those modalities, brings them together, and then actually creates the energy around it so that those things can actually come into being. That is in a much more powerful way than, oh, I'm looking at this, I'm daydreaming about it, because that is also very powerful and important to do. However, when we're actually going through the process, we're opening up the energetic, and I'll get metaphysical here because that's my wheelhouse. So metaphysically, and from quantum science, what we are doing is we are embedding our intention and releasing, as I've said a number of times, that stuck energy onto the page and transmuting it, meaning we are transforming that energy back into light, into something positive, and releasing it so that it can go back to source, however you think of that, and come back down in whatever way source brings it back down. So on a quantum science level, what's happening is that when the thoughts that we think really do create our reality. Now science has caught up with this philosophy and has proven it. We have these smallest particles that emanate from us called photons. Not photon torpedoes, that's different. That's Star Trek. Little joke there for anybody who's a Trekkie. So the photons move outward from us because what we are thinking and what we are seeing and what we are imagining creates our future. And so when we clear the stuck energy and we begin to open up and we begin to clear out the old stories, the old pain, the old trauma, that is actually clearing the path for us to create a future legacy that is trauma-free. And so on a scientific level, from a quantum science level, we're actually working at this with the smallest particles that have been measured to create that reality. And we're giving it in a place to live on our pages, on our individual pages, or for those of us who have a book. And yes, every book is completely different. Every page is completely different. There are no two alike. And my art and creativity and journaling will not look like yours at all. And that's not right or wrong or good or bad. It's because you and I are completely beautiful, unique, amazing human beings on this incredible journey together. So does that answer your question, RC?
Absolutely. And I can actually add to this. So, a lot of the work that I do is with neuroscience and the nervous system and the brain body connection as it relates to trauma. And so much of what you just shared, and you were also talking about how this taps into this sort of very playful experience, is play is massively effective in regulating the nervous system. And what we experience when we experience anxiety or joy and excitement, and you get the butterflies in the stomach or the lump in your throat, right? These are all physical responses your nervous system is having to energy. We call that energy emotions, but think of emotions as energy in motion. And everything you just said takes all of that and puts a microscope on it and zooms into the tiny, tiny, tiny little, the smallest, as you said, particles and levels, and like deep into everything we are made of, that we feel and experience, and that how that relates to the entire world and universe around us. So I know we get a little nerdy around here sometimes. I call it touchy feely super science for a reason. But if that does feel too big to understand, and really what we only sometimes have is that perception of our own experiences, is this is happening on every level, cellular, in our nervous system, in our body, and in kind of, concentric circles out and concentric circles in. So absolutely, I think that's a really great, I think that's maybe even more of a curiosity spark for people to have, kind of open the door to have an understanding of what to expect, and even maybe have absolutely no idea what to expect, but just a ton of curiosity about it. And that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Really hoping that people have a huge curiosity and come open-minded and excited and ready to play.
Yeah, and RC, you just nail on the head, as the saying goes. If this, if you're curious, that's perfect. Come along, join in. Let's come together. Let's spend some time together, and let's play together. And it's safe, and I promise you will be held, and we will create an energetic safety zone so that you can explore as deeply as you want to in the moment in time. And you'll be surrounded by other amazing people doing the very same thing.
Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate you putting in the extra time. Yeah, I think it came out great. Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.